Hello everyone. Welcome back to Shasha Voyage. I am Shasha. Before we begin, a quick reminder. Don't forget to hit subscribe and turn on the little bell so you won't miss any of our latest videos. Today, we are diving into a breakthrough that sounds like something straight out of a science fiction novel, but it has already happened in real life. For the first time, the UK has successfully welcomed babies created with DNA from 3 people. In an effort to stop certain genetic diseases from being passed down, this technology does not just rewrite the history of genetic engineering, it could fundamentally change what we mean by the words genetic destiny. So how does it actually work? Why do we need DNA from 3 people? Could this technology open the door to designer babies and spark ethical debates? Let us walk through this step by step and take a closer look at the world together. What is 3-person DNA? And why a third donor? First, let us clear up the most common question. What does 3-person DNA baby actually mean? The official name for this technology is mitochondrial donation treatment, MDT, an advanced reproductive method designed to treat mitochondrial genetic diseases. We all know DNA comes from our parents, but here is something you may not know. In addition to the nuclear DNA in our cells, which determines our looks, personality traits, and more, our cells also contain little power plants called mitochondria. Mitochondria have their own tiny bit of DNA passed down only from the mother. If this mitochondrial DNA mutates, it can trigger severe genetic disorders, neurodegeneration, muscle weakness, epilepsy, and even death in infancy. The goal of MDT is simple but powerful. Replace the faulty mitochondrial DNA so that the mother can still have her own biological child without passing on a devastating disease. How does it work? The principle of 3-person DNA. Doctors follow a 3-step process. They take an egg from the mother that has defective mitochondria and remove its nuclear DNA. They take a healthy egg from a female donor, remove its nuclear DNA, leaving behind only healthy mitochondria. They insert the mother's nuclear DNA into the donor's egg, then fertilize it with the father's sperm, creating an embryo to be implanted. The resulting baby carries nuclear DNA from the mother and father, plus mitochondrial DNA from the donor. In other words, the child technically has DNA from 3 people, but more than 99.8% of the genetic information still comes from the parents. Now let us watch the moment DNA from a mom and dad is injected into the egg of another woman. The critical step in the creation of a baby made from 3 people. The UK's first successful cases. The UK legalized this technique in 2015, but it was not until 2023 that officials confirmed the first babies were born using it. The UK is one of the few countries in the world to allow and regulate MDT. So far, these babies appear to be healthy and free of mitochondrial disease, offering early evidence that the treatment works. However, the UK's Human Fertilization and Embryology Authority cautions that data is still limited. This is an experimental technique, and long-term monitoring of these children is essential. Hope and controversy. The double-edged sword. While the breakthrough offers hope to families affected by devastating genetic illnesses, it also sparks heated debates. Is this playing with life? Could 3-person DNA alter human evolution? Is this the first step toward designer babies? Will the wealthy one day choose smarter, prettier children? The UK government has drawn a clear line. MDT can only be used to prevent severe mitochondrial diseases. Any other form of gene editing or enhancement is strictly prohibited. Moreover, mitochondrial DNA affects only energy metabolism traits like intelligence, appearance, or personality. So we are still far from creating so-called perfect babies. Looking ahead, hope, or warning. The birth of 3-person DNA babies in the UK is undoubtedly a medical milestone. For families who have lost children to genetic illness, It represents a ray of hope. But at the same time, we must recognize that the technology is still in its early stages. It requires strict regulation, ethical oversight, and open public debate. Whether this leads us to a healthier future, it opens Pandora's box of genetic manipulation dens on how responsibly humanity uses it. If you enjoyed today's topic, don't forget to like and subscribe to Shasha Voyage. Tell me in the comments, what do you think about three-person DNA babies? Should science intervene in something as natural as genetic inheritance? Let's walk slowly, talk slowly, and explore the world together. See you next time.